Want to go, pretty boy?
Two minutes by yourself and you feel shame, and then you get free.
The only thing better than a glass of beer is tea with Miss McGill.
And welcome to the Fourth Line Voice Podcast. My name is Darren. Thank you very much for tuning in. Episode 435 of The Big Show, some enforcer-based podcasting coming at you, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. How's everybody doing out there? Oh yes, another Sunday. Here we are. Folks, I'm telling you, I got 1 week to go. This time next week, I'll be in Las Vegas. Can't wait. It has been cold, and we've had a whole bunch of snow here lately, and it's just winter is getting old. No, I always look forward to every year. February school break, we go down to Vegas. So been doing it for a decade and more. Love Las Vegas. Looking forward to it. Can't wait to get down there. So I don't know. I will do an episode. Thankfully for you guys, I will do an episode next week. And then I will probably take 2 weeks off from podcasting and everything else, and it'll be a welcome break. But actually, it's been a little weird with this show, because I did 2 episodes a week for so long, and now I'm down to 1 a week. It seems like I barely talk to you guys anymore, but I'm also doing the Bruised and Battered show. That's why I'm down to once a week here. Yeah, and I will say the Bruised and Battered show that I do with Jay and Alec, we're on episode 15. We come out every Friday. It's been received really well. Players seem to really be enjoying it. It's gaining momentum. It's been great. And Alec was able to do a project here last week. Can't talk too much about it, but it's like a TV deal. It was a big deal, and it was through our show. Well, it was about our podcast. Just logistically, he was the only one that could go, obviously, because they recorded in Tennessee. But, so it's just a really cool opportunity, and that's due to the show. So, it's been really fun so far, and I just like recording with Jay and Alec. I mean, I think we probably have more fun off air than on the air, but it's been great, and I'm really enjoying because it's something different. That was the one thing with Fourth Line Voice. I mean, after 435 episodes, I mean, it's how many times can you chew your food, right? I mean, there's only so many lists and everything else you can do. And I've said this, and I've had people, and I've brought this up before. You should do this topic, you should do that topic, and they're great ideas. I just don't have time, between trying to get guests, and we're doing interviews on the Bruised and Battered show, and every once in a while I'll do an episode or an interview on this show, and you got to have to do some research. Like, I've spent the last 2 hours doing the player spotlight today, up on YouTube, and then you go for supper, and then I've got to talk to my wife for a while, right? I can't just hide in the basement all day. I worked this morning, so it's, and I work tomorrow morning, so it's, I'm not, cry for me Argentina, but I'm just saying that, everything takes time, and I wish I could devote more to. If I only did this show once a week, I could do a lot of research, and I could do some really big topics. But unfortunately, with time limitations and work and everything else, there's only so much I can do. I need a lot of it done for me, and I will be completely honest. Yuka's been great in Finland. He's done a lot of stuff for me. I've had a John Cernick. John, he's been great. I've had a bunch of guys kind of put things on a tee for me. So that's been really helpful. But overall, other than maybe doing lists and the odd player spotlight, it's kind of, we'll see. But, I'm trying. I always try to, every week, I try to, because I know I have some loyal listeners here, and I'll always try to do the best that I can for you guys and give you something entertaining to listen to on your commute or, wherever you happen to be listening. So, trying, but bear with me. But I was going to say with the Bruised and Battered show, it's been a different kind of a different avenue because it's current hockey, right? Current minor league hockey, which I had really no interest in, but I'd watch current fights and stuff, especially in the minors. I mean, the NHL I could give two shits about, but the East Coast League's has been awesome this year, and Southern Pro League tonight there was a knockout. Tristan Trudell knocked a guy out. There's been a couple good fights in the Fed. In the East Coast League's been banging, man. And our Bruised and Battered guest from this episode, Cade McNally. I mean, you've heard him on here. I've interviewed him on here, but he's down in Tulsa. He's got 4 fights in 12 games, and great tilts. So yeah, the East Coast League's been great this year for fights. So that's to me. So it's been enjoyable. And the LNH has had its moments. And so the current stuff, as much as I find the NHL and everything eye rolling, and we'll get into that in a sec. Well, it's funny as I'm sitting here recording, I'm like, ding, ding. What's my Facebook Messenger? Old Johnny Searson, yeah, over from the UK. He flew over the pond. He is in Philadelphia. Of course, he is a massive Philadelphia Eagles fan. So he's going to be hopefully the. Who do you think? The Eagles or the Chiefs, folks? I'm thinking the Eagles are going to do it. I'm going to put money on the Eagles here. But yeah, John. Oh well, he just sent me a video. Standing in the hallway there at the hotel. He went to the Flyers Pittsburgh game, him and his UK buddy who's never been to a hockey game, I guess. And John said, yeah, they paid $87 a ticket, $18 a beer. And he goes, the game was the biggest dog shit game ever. And he had to explain to his buddy why he recommended going to this Flyer game, because I think his buddy was half asleep. And he goes, oh, air quote, rivalry night. Just fucking embarrassing, not even a scrum. Yeah, there we go. That's the NHL for you. And then you wonder why I don't cover the NHL. But I'm going to cover the NHL a little bit in this. Well, not glowingly, that's for sure. Well, I'll do the, I'm a member of the Hockey Podcast Network, 100 shows in the network. I'm on the original content creator side myself, the Bruised and Battered Show, Terry Reinhold, TR, and of course, Jolton Joe Lazito over the Coliseum Chronicles. He has part 2 with Jack Gregg out right now. Highly recommend it. Journeyman minor league guy, great storyteller. Definitely check it out. Jolton Joe, I hear rumors that he is on his way. He's going to cross the border. So we got Searson crossing the American border. We got Lazito crossing the Canadian border. Yeah, I think maybe some of this border talk is legitimate. I dismissed it at first, but look who we're letting in here. I think we might have to tighten up. Lazito, are you serious? Come on. Yeah, but so Jolton Joe's going to come over and watch some OHL games and eat some all-dressed chips and everything else. So, all right, well, so we'll see how that goes. I look forward to listening to that episode of the father-son trip. There you go. But no, Joe does a great job. Coliseum Chronicles, definitely check it out. As I said, Bruised and Battered, we're over there. So, yeah, the Hockey Podcast Network, folks, it's where it's at. And if you're planning on doing some betting for the Super Bowl, why not? I'm going to hit you with hey, DraftKings, man, you sign up $500, get $200 in bonus bets. Shit, just dump it all on the Eagles, man. Or the Chiefs, whatever. It's free $200. Go for it. All you use the promo code THPN, DraftKings Sportsbook. You're helping us out. You're getting $200. Seriously, if you're putting money down in the game, why would you not do that? I'm just saying. It's not a scam. DraftKings, it's like one of the biggest mobile sports books in the world. You'll get, I've used it. I have friends that have used it. You get your money. They're not going to rip you off. And this is the promo for new users. So I'm going to drop the ad read on you here, but I'm seriously, sign up. And like I said, it helps us out. It helps you out. And hopefully we can all win some money. So I'll hit you with this, and then we're going to get into this show here.
And now here's a word from our sponsor.
Have you played Pick 6 from DraftKings? What are you waiting for? Better get on it. It's Super Bowl 59, the last time to play NFL Pick 6 this season. As the official daily fantasy sports partner of the NFL, DraftKings does fantasy sports like no one else. Play for better payouts on Pick 6. It's super easy. Get started. Select 2 or more players. Choose if they'll have more or less of a stat, like touchdowns, yardage, etc. Pick 6 is available in most states, including Missouri, California, Texas, Georgia, and more. DraftKings is making it even sweeter for first-timers. New Pick 6 customers play $5 to get $59 in Pick 6 credits. So win more cash on Pick 6. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app. Use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to play $5 and get $59 in Pick 6 credits. Only at DraftKings Pick 6. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
Well, first things first. I think we have to... You guys know what that means. We're going to open some hockey cards here first. We're going to do that, and then, of course, we're going to talk about... we'll talk about the Hartman and the Tage Thompson bullshit, and then, of course, Biz and Connor Bedard. Oh, there's a feud. Oh, yeah, the brilliance of social media on full display. Derek Parker retires. Little shenanigans in Laval last night, the LNAH, and it shows... Well, show how different the LNAH is and why it's going to fail. And then, since Biz has been kind of all over social media the last couple of days, not by his doing, but by idiots, somebody suggested to me, well, why don't you do a player spotlight on him? I'm like, that's actually a good idea. So I did. Today's player spotlight will be on Paul Bissonnette. And I went down the rabbit hole today. I went and watched every one of his NHL fights. How many did he have? 51 regular season NHL fights. And then he probably had about 10 preseason fights. So in total, I watched about 60 Biz fights. Well, I did watch some AHL ones too. And we'll break all that down. And I will give you a review on Paul Bissonnette's fighting career in the NHL. But first, let's look at these Parkhurst. 1992. Well, right off the top, Russ Courtnall, Montreal. Of course, he ended up in Montreal because he was traded for John Kordic. Probably not the best trade. Grant Ledyard, Buffalo. Martin Gélina for the Edmonton Oilers. Shell Samuelson for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Randy Ladouceur for Hartford. Larry Murphy, very underrated Larry Murphy, Hall of Famer. Hell of a career. Solid player. These things are glossy, so they're kind of sticking together here. Benoit Hogue, one of the fastest men on Sega Genesis. Rookie, Valerie Kamensky of the Quebec Nordiques. Brent Fedek, actually kind of look at Probert for a second. Oh, come on. Well, there you go. Some toughness. Old Alan May, the Washington Capitals. There you go. Tim Berglund of the Washington Capitals. And 500 goals. Michel Goulet. Well, that was sort of an underwhelming pack, but I'll keep old Alan May over here. Well, there we go. Nothing like beating hockey card. I know that's Napes' my boy Chris that's his favorite segment on the show is when I do that. So who is texting me here? Yes, Kevin keeps. I'm sure he'll start ringing again, texting me here. Well, first things first. Actually, we're going to talk before I start ranting, because then I'm going to get irritated. First, last weekend, Derek Parker played his final game with Laval. In Laval, he played he played 2 games, one in Laval though, and one on the road. Got into a couple fights, created a controversy. Before he got there, he made a video shit talking Patrick Bordelot, because those two have a bit of a feud going, and he's created shit, got down there, ended up fighting him. It wasn't much of a fight. They fell down right away, but whatever. And then the next night he fought Hubert Poulin. That didn't go very well. And then Poulin, I believe it was last year or the year before, Parker fought Hubert Poulin, who's a tough local guy, he's a boxer, tough dude. But Parker caught him and dropped him last year. So this is Poulin's revenge. And again, it's not like Parker's been playing. He's been working and stuff, whatever. Out of shape and whatever. And he admits it, whatever. I mean, there's video out there. Anyway, they square off, they fight. Parker falls down right away, but Poulin continues to drill him when he's on the ice. All right. I mean, fighting's fighting. I mean, okay, anyway. I mean, if we all got mad about that, I mean, the same guys have, like I said, they have profile pictures of Terry O'Reilly. So it's like, I'm not going to sit here and be a hypocrite about it. And Poulin wanted his revenge and he got it. And okay. I'm setting this up. This Poulin thing goes a little further after this, but I'm just talking about Parker for now. Anyway, it was Parker's final 2 games. And man, what a career as far as the minor league guy goes. And as far as fighting goes, man, oh man, it doesn't get much bigger than Derek Parker. And and Yuka sent me his final stats here. And so Derek Parker started with the Lethbridge Hurricanes in the Western League, and then he also played Junior A with the Melville Millionaires, the Saskatchewan Junior League, and then of course went on to play in the minors. So he actually played a round total of, with including junior, 600 career games. He had 129 career points, 4,023 penalty minutes, and 473 confirmed career fights. In 2005, he did take part in the Black and Blue Hockey Fight Tournament. It's on Fourth Line Voice on YouTube. Check it out. The video, the whole show is on there. In 2000, which is also on YouTube, is the Ice Warriors, which is Yuka's event. In 2010, from Finland, he won the Ice Warriors, and in 2022, he took part in Ice Wars. And he is the Western Hockey League's all-time most suspended player. 2 consecutive seasons with 500-plus penalty minutes, and in 2005-2006, he recorded 78 fighting majors. That was his first year in the LNAH with St. Hyacin. So you're never going to see another Derek Parker. In between that, he fought some MMA, he did some boxing, always fighting. And yeah, what a character. I mean, if there was ever a guy built for the LNAH, it was Derek Parker, and he learned French, and I mean, the fans really took to him there, and he was great in the LNAH, and what a warrior, man. Great numbers, and I mean, we'll never see another Derek Parker again, that's for sure, and I wish him the best in retirement, and I will be... I'll talk to him. I'll try to get him on the show here. I've talked to him at Ice Wars, and, we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, so thank you, Derek Parker, for all the fights and all the memories. I can remember when he came to the LNAH in 2005, man, he stirred it up, and he had everybody riled up, and he had Morasti wanting to kill him. He had Patrick Cote wanted to kill him. Patrick Cote ran across the ice in street clothes to try to get after him. And he fought everybody and didn't back down, and Parker was the man. I'm telling you. Yeah, what a career. But, so that went down. So congratulations, Derek Parker. Now, fast forward. Brett Gallant has made his return to Laval. He's played a couple games. 2 weekends ago, he actually played Tetford, and he fought Hubert Poulin that I was talking about. Busted him open, cut him open. Poulin went down right away, but Gallant landed a few. Then Poulin going off the ice was celebrating, whatever, but getting into it with the fans, putting on a show. Okay. Last week he does that shit with Parker in Tetford. Okay. So this weekend, yesterday, they're playing Laval in Laval. So it's a big rematch. Gallant and Poulin has been promoted. It's like, all right, it's the LNAH. While Tetford ends up laying the beats to Laval in Laval 8-3, and there's a couple of fights, but Poulin doesn't want anything. Gallant's trying to fight him, and Poulin wants nothing to do with him, which of course, and they're losing and whatever, so that sort of enrages the Laval fans, and alcohol and lack of discretion start happening, and they start firing. The fans start throwing shit on the ice. The Tetford team's getting into it with the Laval fans. Reminded me of, it's like 2001. Here we go all over again, like it happened back in the day. But they pulled the team off the ice. They left for about 5 minutes. They came back and finished the game, but there was no fights, or at least Gallant never fought, and Poulin wouldn't fight him. But meanwhile, Poulin's shit-talking the fans and getting everyone fired up and everything else. And it's like, okay. So, talked to a couple guys that were there, and I said, well, this is, I've on this show, I've often, for 435 episodes, I bitched, and I'm going to do it again this episode, but I've ranted and bitched about the NHL and everything, and hockey, air quotes, not getting it and everything else. I said it's quite the day when the LNAH doesn't get it. And at some point, and you look at the stands, and Laval, you're seeing empty seats. You're seeing empty seats all over the place. In the LNAH, they've made it now where you have to be from Quebec to play in the league. There's no more imports. The only reason Gallant is in the league is because he played in the Quebec Junior League back in the day. So if you played in the Quebec Junior League back in the day, you can play in the Quebec League. But they're basically trying to keep it local. Well, that's problem number one. But because at the same time, they're trying to sort of keep fighting alive. But, they don't fight in the Quebec Junior League anymore. You're not allowed to. If you do, you get suspended. So there's no one coming. So, the only guys that are really fighting left in the league are guys that have been around forever, like Poulin, who's 37, and like Derek Parker's, 42, and, and these guys, you can be grandfathered in. That's the other reason why Parker's playing, but you can be grandfathered if you played in the league before. But so you got Thomas Belmar, and you got like Sebastian Laferriere, like all these guys are in their 30s. So you got to bring these guys basically off the, and I don't mean it in a derogatory, but just work with me here for the reference. But it's like you got to get these guys off the scrap heap, and like a lot of them are out of shape, and it's just like, but it's, whatever, it's the show. Oh, we have to have the show and all this. It's like, okay, fine. But your league's not going to survive this way, because at some point the Gallants and Parker's done now, and the Poulins and these guys are Gabby Rock and Dave Hamill and stuff. They're just going to be done because they're old. So now what? You got really nothing coming. And I know, and I see it even in the comments section in some of these Quebec, with these new age, even Quebec LNH fans. They, I don't need the show and blah, blah, blah. If you like that, go watch boxing. And it's just like this new age bullshit. Like, somehow you can't have both. Like, really? But, the league's more talented than ever. Well, it's not, because, again, it's just, the league's got talent in it, without a doubt. There's talented players, but it's all French guys. You could open it up and it would be more talented. It'd be much more talented, obviously, if you opened it up for everybody. But it's like your league's dying. And the whole Laval fiasco this weekend was just encapsulated it. And it's like Laval pays Brett Gallant a lot of money to come and play for them. And when he's there, he's not there to run the power play. People want to see Gallant put on a show. But Poulin and Tetford, I don't know if he was told by his coaches or whatever. This is just me speculating. But it's like, okay, because he knew that Laval was coming after him because of the shit he did with Parker, beating him when he was on the ice and in Parker's last game and whatever. Okay, and he's public enemy number one in Laval. All right, well, so they all wanted to see Gallant get him again. Gallant's out there trying to fight him, and Poulin won't. And it's 8-3 and whatever. And I don't know if it's because, it's in Laval, so I'm not putting on a show for you people. That's kind of the idea of it, right? And that was, I'm going to give Laval the middle finger. All these people came to see Gallant fight me, and I'm not going to give him the satisfaction. All right. Well, you could do that when you have sellouts every night. You can't do it when there's empty seats, though. And this is the problem. You're killing your own product by doing this. And these owners all need to get together and explain to these players, because I can guarantee Poulin ain't playing for $10 and a cheese sandwich either. They're probably paying him pretty decent, too. The fighters get paid good in that league. And when I say good, and people laugh, but per game outside of the NHL, that's the most money you're going to make is in the LNAH. I know it's surprising for some people, but it's true. So, in terms of Gallant's business, I don't know what Poulin's getting, but it'd be probably around what an American League guy would get. And, and there's consent deals and everything worked out. These guys make a lot of money to play in that league. So they're paying you probably, straight cash, homie, and everything else, and then you turn around and pull that shit, and it's like I'm giving it to the fans and whatever. No, you're not. Yeah, you're giving it to the fans, but you're killing your own product. And I see this all the time with a bunch of these teams. Well, we won't fight on the road. We'll save it for home. I know that was said to a fighter last year. We're not going to play you on the road. We'll play you at home, though. You can fight at home. Okay, so you expect the other team's guy to give you one in your own rink, but when you go on the road, you're going to deny him. Okay, well, you see how this does not help anybody. Again, from a coaching standpoint, I get it, but you can't. Your league is not going to survive doing that shit. And the LNAH, for as much as they like to go legit, we're going legit and we're all this, and people are coming dressed like chairs. I mean, you're killing your own product. At the end of the day, accept what you are. You are what you are. You're always going to be the fighting league, the goon league. No one's going to take, the people know, people inside hockey know how good the league is, but to the outsiders, you're always going to be the circus. So whatever. Who cares? And if a team's going to drop a lot of money to bring a tough guy in and an import guy in, you better tell your local yokel that's there to fight him. And it's like, dude, we're giving you, whatever, 500, 700 a game, and you decide to, I'm going to keep my gloves on. No. If you want the money, fight. And people could say that's barbaric or gross or whatever, but you took the money, you know what you're there for, it's to put on a show. See, that's the thing also when I'm talking about the LNAH, you have to sort of suspend your disbelief, because people always try to equate this to the NHL and shit. It's like, no, the LNAH is like WWE plus hockey, and it's entertainment, so you're trying to get both. But the problem is now these guys aren't willing to put on a show anymore, and it's and like I said, on one hand, I get it. Whatever, from a gamesmanship, fine. But the problem is you got to think bigger picture. And right now, like I said, back in 05, 06, 07, when the league was jumping, you can say whatever you want about the LNAH. They were playing in the Colisée in Quebec and getting 12, 13,000 people to an LNAH game, to the Radio X games. They were on RDS, which is the French version for TSN, which is, national broadcast. So it was bouncing, and guys were making six figures, and it was never not tonight, bro. No, it was. They all understood the assignment, and that's when the league was bouncing and doing well, and everyone was making money. But like with everything, there's greed involved and mismanagement and goofiness, and people get out over their skis, and next thing you know, we're losing teams and owners and everything else. Well, they're trying to revive it, and you got a couple owners that are willing to throw money around and bring back the old days, and then you got other guys that are, we don't want the goons. Okay, like the couple of the nerds that bought the new team and put it back in St. Hassan, a couple ex-NHL guys, and we don't want goons. Okay, meanwhile you're boring as shit, and it's like, again, you've completely missed the plot. But if you're happy that you bought a team or you made the investment in a team and you're playing to half, your team's, you got a winning record, but you're playing to half a barn. Well, that's right on. So, all right, that's a formula for success. But no, it was just disappointing. And I like Poulin, but I don't know what his deal is, and it was just disappointing to see, and felt bad for Gallant. And at the same time, I saw some Laval fans that, Gallant should have just pumped him. Well, Gallant's not that guy either. Patrick Cote would have, but Gallant comes to the American Hockey League and everything like that, and he's not gonna be the donkey. He'll fight, no problem. He'll square off and do all that shit and fight and all that, but he's not gonna be the donkey. So no, it was just disappointing, and once again, it just comes down to these teams and these leagues don't get it, and I don't know. Like I said, they're content to be we're getting rid of the animals, we're playing, and we play hockey. And like I said, you play hockey to half full rinks, and you got the LNH has gone through how many teams lately? One folded last year, the one folded the year before. It's like, but you can't figure it out. All right, but no, keep it Quebec, and we'll go down to no fights, and it's just whatever. So that's my LNAH rant, but Oh, the NHL. Well, first of all, they gave Ryan Hartman 10 games for driving Tim Stuzel's head into the ice. Whatever. But that was right at the end of the second period. That happened. Third period, no penalties. He must be real popular in the room. He's bleeding, whatever, and no one in Ottawa does anything. And I mean, they gave Hartman a match, so they couldn't get after Hartman. But I mean, take out one of theirs then, but oh, God forbid you do that, though. That's goon hockey and whatever. But well, there you go. There's Ottawa's big response. Nothing. So I was surprised they gave Hartman 10 games. I mean, I know they've always been suspended before. Well, what does that mean anymore? Like, get suspended for who? Why? Sorry, folks. But 10 games, just whatever. And then a couple nights later, Tage Thompson, Buffalo's best player, of course, he gets elbowed by I don't know who it was in New Jersey. But, okay, I'll turn the volume down. Enough, Kev, stop. Jesus, I don't care. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, so your leading scorer gets dropped with an elbow and no one does anything. No response from Buffalo at all. In fact, after the game, they had to have a closed-door meeting and be yelled at for not... Like, this is where we're at in hockey these days. That you actually had to have a meeting with an NHL team to tell them that you need to stick up for your leading scorer who got elbowed. And it was either that night or the night before was Rob Ray night, where they retired his jersey. Yeah, there we go. So after Rob Ray night, you have to sit down with the boys and explain to them why you can't have your leading scorer being elbowed and no one responding. Okay. Yeah. But, yeah. Set the tone. Oh, yeah. So then the next game, who was it for Buffalo? I had it written down. Now I can't find my damn notes. Anyway, some guy from Buffalo goes and fights, the guy for Columbus. Jesus, why am I just drawing a blank now? Okay, yeah, sorry folks, I've got text flying here, I'm getting all whatever. But yeah, so Olivier, the next night Buffalo plays Columbus, and Dennis Gilbert, he's going to he's going to take Lindy Ruff's words, say, okay, boys, I'm going to show you how to do it. So off the opening face-off, he fights Matthew Olivier. And I like Olivier, and marks for Gilbert, but I mean, I don't know, too little, too late. I mean, whatever. But he proceeds to be used for target practice as Olivier just shit cans him. And, it was a game of tag, and Gilbert was it the whole time. We'll put it that way. So, and hey, whatever, the kid went for it. So what the fuck, right? But just, but this is where we're at. So I don't know if Buffalo is now like, there we showed we'll stick up for each other now. Like I don't know. Like it's just, it's so pathetic. It's just, like I said, you have to have a closed door meeting after your star gets a run. I mean, that's where we're at. It's funny. I was talking to a guy the other day, private message. He said, he was asking me about pitchers or something, but one of the fight pitchers, and we were just kind of going back and forth. And he started listening to the show, and he enjoys it. Blah blah blah. So that's cool. But he's kind of talking about fighting, and I could sort of tell he was obviously sort of a newer fan, but he was sort of. He sends me a video. It was a junior, and he goes, "Oh, fighting's still alive and well." I'm just like, "Come on, dude, it's not." Like, I get that a lot, and even when they showed like the fighting in in the East Coast League or the American League or whatever, and it's and he even laughed about it. He said it wasn't, but it's a different guy, but whatever. We're going on social media, but yeah. Anyway, it's just like everyone's, and I read these Facebook groups all the time, the fight groups and all this, and anytime Olivier fights or Delorier or whatever, it's like that and Rempe and. It's tough hockey's back. It's like, what the fuck are you talking? Tough hockey's back. Like, God, you have no idea. Like, how old are you? Like 18? Like, clearly, you have no idea. It's like, no, it's not, because incidents like this in Buffalo keep happening. Carolina finally had their first fight like 2 weeks ago. You have Ottawa's no response to Hartman. It's just, no, it's not. And as the playoffs get closer, it's going to be less and less and less. Well, it can't get less for some teams, but, like I said, John there sending me the message. Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, some air quotes, rivalry game, and he says there isn't even a scrum. It's fucking dead, man. It's fucking pond hockey bullshit. And it's, You'll have occasionally, I said, you have guys that'll fight, but they're not fighters. And everyone's got visors sticking out. It's not their fault they have to wear them, but I mean, really? Everyone's fighting with visors. You just tuck your chin and, whatever, punch helmet and visor, and, no one lands any shots, and jersey jab, and it's the same bullshit. And it's like, yeah, it's lame as fuck. Like, it'd be interesting. See, like I always say, when I was growing up, I saw the good, because I'm old, right? So I saw the good shit through the 80s and 90s. I can't imagine growing up and being like 15 or 16 right now. There's no way I would enjoy the game of hockey. It's boring as shit. There's no physicality to it. Nothing. So, yeah, it's just lame as shit. And then speaking of lame as shit, well, we'll get on to Bissonnette here, and then we'll get on to the player spotlight. But yeah, Paul Bissonnette, in his breakdown on TNT or whatever, was critical of Connor Bedard. And it wasn't that, he's the shits and overrated. He wasn't saying anything like that. He was just talking about how he has to be more aware in his own zone and play defense a little bit and the net and he had video. He was showing video and breaking it down. Well, of course, the internet blows up, and then it becomes all the gym class morons. How many points did you have? And this guy's talking about Connor Bedard and just idiocy. And of course, of all the things, the Chicago Blackhawks, their actual team, from their team account, tweets out, they got Connor Bedard and Bissonnette side by side, their stat lines. 22 points in 21 games for Bedard versus 22 points in your NHL career. That's pond hockey, baby. Because Bissonnette was claiming Bedard's playing pond hockey. So that's your big burn, is so because Connor Bedard has more points than Paul Bissonnette does in his career, that Biz shouldn't be talking about. It's so embarrassing. And like I said, and I even put this on Twitter. I said, so here we are. You have one of the original six, a storied franchise with a rich history, and you have some clueless putz who runs their social media account just spreading their idiocy. Then sure enough, some guy replied, and it's some chick, of course, that's their social media here we go. Of course it is. And it's just, fuck, really? And you have all these other fucking idiots, and of course it's all these friggin' this is why fucking podcasters and and the thing that was sort of not irritating, but I could understand. But I mean, yeah, so the one guy, 22 career points, lecturing on guys what it takes to win. Hilarious. Yeah, of course I just replied, dismissing knowledge and actual experience equals social media. Yeah, Paul Bissonnette talking about Bedard is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Like, just nonsense. And the thing that was actually sort of irritating was that these people believe it, and and it's this idea that like Jay Rosehill, and then they're roasting Jay Rosehill. Oh, another goon joins the These guys played in the NHL. Paul Bissonnette played 200 career games in the NHL. I mean, you know what the percentages are of guys who just even make one game in the NHL? This guy played 200. Like, do you not... Like I said, they just dismiss this. Like I know Biz is the butt of the joke and everything else, and okay, he was a goon, and blah, and whatever. But it's a bit. At the end of the day, he played in the NHL. To truly know something, you had to have done it. I would think Paul Bissonnette, if you want to sit, like, pull the jokes aside, if you want him to sit down, he can break down a game. He can break down what you seem to forget. Again, OHL All-Star, East Coast Hockey League All-Star, 202 games in the NHL. He has somewhat of a clue. I hate to break it to you. I hate to break I'm going to pull the curtain back and we're in Oz here. But yeah, Bissonnette, like, isn't a clown. Like, he's a clown. He plays the clown on TV. But don't dismiss that as he's just some clueless bum that has, like, this idea that anybody... If you play elite level hockey, junior hockey and up, you're already in such a rare percentile compared to the hundreds of thousands of people that play hockey every year to even make the junior level, let alone college, let alone pro, let alone the NHL. But you have these buffoons and it's always these podcasting dorks or these analytic losers. I'm like, it's why I hate when I get lumped in with these podcasting clowns that they have no respect for the players. And the fact that this buffoon believes it, that he only had 22 points, so he shouldn't, like Jay Rosehill said, like, so you can't comment on anybody that has more points than you did in your career? Like, what are you talking about? Like, and so these people calling Bissonnette a bum, of course, never played anything. They never played above Timbits or Pee Wee hockey, but it's like anything in society and social media, whether it's this or science or anything else. Oh yeah, we just dismiss knowledge for the loudest voice because they know. And it's just ignorance just reigns supreme these days, and knowledge is just dismissed, and it's just embarrassing, and it's just this whole Bedard Bissonnette thing. That's social media in a nutshell. You know who would probably be embarrassed by it? It was Connor Bedard. It's just like, oh my god, and just rolling his eyes at like all these responses and stuff. I guarantee he had no problem with what Bissonnette said. Probably agreed with him after he broke it down. And could have a debate with Bissonnette about, not even a debate, but just, hopefully he grows from it. Because if you watch the video, Bissonnette's right. He's right. Like, I can't remember what Connor, but he's like a minus 20 something. Not that I'm a huge plus minus guy, but yeah, he's minus whatever. It's like, yeah. And Paul Bissonnette, for those wondering, for his career, was a plus 7. So, but it's just this buffoonery. Online buffoonery, as always. And like I said, it was just embarrassing to listen to, and yeah, whatever. But which all this Bissonnette talk got me to thinking, and like I said, somebody like, oh, you should do a player spotlight on Biz. I'm like, yeah, I should. Because I mean, I've seen Biz fight and everything else, but it was obviously in like 2008, 9, 10, 11. In that time period, I wasn't really watching NHL. I'd stopped watching NHL hockey. So, but I'd see fights online. I'd see them and stuff. But I never went down that rabbit hole and, like I said, watched them all in order and stuff. That's the one thing I really enjoy doing these player spotlights, because that's exactly what you do, right? You go down right from the beginning to, his NHL stuff, because that's the stuff. I've had people say, oh, you should do the minor league stuff and everything. It's like, yeah, but a lot of the minor leagues, like none of his East Coast League stuff's online and blah, blah, blah. It's like, I kind of want to I want people to like kind of follow along and watch. I mean, I have DVDs of certain, I'm saying Bissonnette, for example, but I have like, whatever, a John Morasti DVD that I have all those Bakersfield fights from the East Coast League. Well, those aren't all. I've put some of them up on YouTube, but I haven't put all of them up. So I'm not going to break down all of his Bakersfield fights for that year, because half of them people won't be able to watch. So for the Bissonnette stuff, I just did his NHL stuff, and it's all on YouTube, so you can watch it. And whatever, if you want to do a watch along, follow along with me. Yeah, so that's kind of why I do them that way. That's why I kind of just focus on the NHL stuff. Although there's a couple guys, because now, of course, in hockey fights, kind of the newer age guys, all their stuff is out there, right? So There is actually a couple WHL guys. Like I'd really like to sit down and maybe do a Tanner Lasan one because he's so good. He was kind of a mid 2000s. Played for Swift Current, smaller guy, but just action fighter. Tanner Lasan, Lasann. I recommend you go down that rabbit hole and watch his fights. You will be entertained. But yeah, I'll do a breakdown of his maybe in a couple weeks when I get back from Vegas. I'll do it. But let's get into the Paul Bissonnette spotlight. And first things first, we'll give vitals here. Paul Bissonnette, born March 11th, 1985, Welland, Ontario, 6'2", 220, drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins in the 4th round of the 2003 entry draft. He played 4 seasons in the OHL, started in North Bay, then played 3 seasons in Saginaw, before playing for the Owen Sound Attack, rounding it to end his OHL career. And then he played a couple seasons in Wheeling in the East Coast Hockey League, where he was an East Coast League All-Star. 1 year, 65 games, he had 10 goals, 32 assists, 115 minutes of penalties, was a plus 12. That's on D. And he did play in the OHL All-Star game as well. And he was also in the CHL, the Canadian Hockey League Prospects game, because he actually fought Dion Phaneuf in that game. And that fight is on my YouTube channel if you want to go check that out. So he was definitely, and this is what I've always said with Bissonnette, and this is the one thing I've always respected for him, because coming up through junior, he wasn't a really big fighter. He would fight, and he played physical and everything else, but he wasn't air quote an enforcer or anything like that. And he said it himself, he made that decision when he was in the East Coast League, that he was looking at Pittsburgh's roster. They didn't have anybody really tough. They didn't really have anybody in Wilkes-Barre. So it was like, well, if I'm going to make the next step, I'll have to take the enforcer role, which he did. And and that was the thing in 07-08. Playing with Wheeling and Wilkes-Barre. Obviously he took it serious because he had 28 fights that year. And we're talking Littlejohn, Recklish twice, Morasti twice, Bowley Race, Ryan Flynn, Trevor Gillies twice. So, I mean, he wasn't picking his spots. And then, 08-09, he got called up with Pittsburgh and played 15 games that year. 22 minutes of penalties, but he had 4 preseason fights and 4 regular season fights. His preseason fights, one of them was against his first one was against David Kochi. Just off the face-off, kind of Kochi rushes in. Biz is kind of doing the one to the body, one to the head kind of thing. Kochi doesn't really land much, but it's just Kochi's so bloody big. He throws Biz down, kind of wrestles him down, but then they rematch again. The footage was lousy on this one, but it looked like it was all sort of Bissonnette, but the camera work wasn't really great. His third preseason fight was against Jamal Maris, who was playing for Toronto. They just got in tight and fell down, nothing there. Then he fought Hallwig in that same game, squared off, and this was all Biz. Thrown to the side of the head. Hallwig kind of makes a comeback at the end with 2 shots, but definitely a win for Bissonnette. So, kind of a strong preseason. He plays 15 regular season games with Pittsburgh that year. He has 4 tilts, like I said. His first regular season fights against Matt Bradley of Washington. They square off. Actually, they take the helmets off and everything. They come together, and Bissonnette just tags him, which kind of stuns Bradley. Kind of wobbles for a second, but he gets back right. He kind of rights himself again, and then Bissonnette just smacks him with a right and puts him down. Kind of a little flash knockdown TKO. So good, again, it's Matt Bradley. I mean, let's not, we're not jumping up and down crowning Biz the heavyweight champ or anything, but, it's a good start. Next fight's against Dan Lacouture, who's playing for Carolina. Again, all Bissonnette. Definitely another win. Then he fights Aaron Ash from Philadelphia. They square off right off the face-off. Biz keeps Asham away with the left, kind of the Jersey jab, but nothing really lands much, but wasn't much of a fight. Then Nathan McIver from Anaheim, he lands a couple, but Biz lands 3 solid kind of like left Jersey jabs. And that's the one thing I've noticed as I kind of went through his fights, through his career. Biz is 6'2", but he must have the wingspan of a guy 6'6", because there are times when he fights Jared Bull a million times. They're both listed at 6'2", but Biz he has gorilla arms. Literally, if you go and watch, his wingspan is way bigger than the guy 6'2", and he uses it really effectively. And he must really strong left because he holds the guys out with the lefts, and he does this jersey jab, but he grabs them right in the middle of their jersey, and he's jersey jabbing them, but he's hitting them pretty solid, and it really keeps guys off balance. So one thing I noticed throughout Bissonnette's NHL career in his fights, he's really good at keeping guys off balance. Not the biggest power puncher at all, but he's throwing all rights. Biz don't throw lefts. The left's a limp noodle out there when he decides to actually throw it, because there's a couple times he's set up to throw the left and he doesn't really do it. He kind of does it, but it ain't much. He's all rights, but not a huge power guy, but really strong with controlling. And like I said, you'll see what I mean. His reach is unbelievable. How long he is for a guy 6'2", way longer than that. And he keeps guys at bay. Now, at the same time, they don't really lead to Tasker and Sen type battles, it's about preservation too. But he controls most of these fights in his career. He controlled them, and we're talking big guys too, and like tougher guys. And he's controlling them with the left and pushes them where he wants to put them, and landing rights. And Bissonnette fought smart. I will give him that. And it was really interesting to watch this. And after that, then he gets, he's up and down that year. And like I said, he ended up with 28 fights in the American League, man. Morasti 3 times, McLaren, Trevor Gillies twice, Yablonski 3 times, Cassian, Sugden twice, McNeil twice, Rosehill, Segroy. He's fighting everybody, making it 28 tilts, man. And this, he is making a solid bid to become Pittsburgh's guy. And then what does Pittsburgh do? Well, the following season he comes to camp, gets into 5 preseason fights with Pittsburgh, and in their wisdom, they waive him. There you go. And he gets picked up by Phoenix, which is probably the best thing that ever happened to him in his career. But classic Penguins. It's like, all right, guy fights 28 times for you in the American League against everybody, and you waive him the next year. Like, all right. But in that, so 2009-2010 with Phoenix, plays 41 games, has 5 preseason fights with Pittsburgh, gets picked up by Phoenix, and ends up having 19 regular season fights. His preseason fights, Andy Rogers of Toronto, I have no idea who that is. The cameras sucked. They just, once they pan to it, Biz is on top of them. Then he fights Francois Beauchemin. Beauchemin actually throws a big hit, and Biz comes in. They actually take their helmets off. Lots of wrestling, not really much happening here. This fight, if you watch it, this is where Biz's lack of a left hand really shows, because he's turned and he's got the left loose. Beauchemin's really got a hold of Biz's right. He's got the left loose, and he doesn't throw it. You can see he has no left. He ends up fighting Rosehill too, who's playing for Toronto at this time, and they were along the glass. And Biz actually really starts strong, and he gets Rosehill's jersey up. And then Rosehill kind of, as they say, kind of punches off the ropes. He comes off the glass punching, but and then they wrestle down. He also fight Derek Dorsett. There was no video for that. And then he fights Matthew Waugh for Columbus. And again, the jersey jabs, and then Waugh actually goes for a big left, and Biz kind of ducks it and lands a real hard right. And so definitely, and buckles him. So definitely a win for Biz in that one. Then in their wisdom, September 30th, they waive him. But probably a career saver. Phoenix picks him up, and Biz goes right to work, man. 19 fights that year, and never sees the minors again. Or I should say, he plays the rest of the time. He plays in the NHL, until whatever Phoenix. He plays the next 1, 2, 3, 5 seasons with Phoenix, and then he plays a couple 3 more years in the American League, and then he's done. But this is his run in Phoenix, or he doesn't go, and Phoenix never sends him back to the minors. Starts off with Phoenix. Jody Shelley of San Jose squares off. Both of them throwing. Actually, it's kind of funny. They're both just throwing jersey jabs, and Shelley kind of falls backwards. Next fight's against John Boychuk of Boston. Boychuk actually lands some really solid rights. Biz kind of pulls his jersey up over the front, but this was Biz need to have a little stronger showing than this because, it's not like Boychuk's a real big fighter or anything. Next fight's against Jared Bull, who Bissonnette fights a million times. They both have each other really stretched out, but this is where you really notice is because they both list their, underneath they have 6'2", 220, they're the same size, but Bissonnette looks, like I said, it looks like he's got like Frankenstein arms. Fights Evenons. Biz with a big hit. Evenons comes in. Biz does a really good job at avoiding. He stays busy inside. Biz actually finally throws a left in this fight. Yeah, kind of, but I'd give him the win on this. Then he fights Jay Leach from Montreal. Biz threw a big hit. Leach comes in, and it's all Biz. Biz just pumps him. Chris Barch square off. Not much happens. He fights Barch a lot. Then his next fight was against Matt Walker at the Tampa Bay Lightning. Matt Walker's always been an interesting case for me. He's a WHL guy, kind of an under the radar guy. He's a tough dude, but you don't hear much about him. He was kind of this undercover. I think he just played on teams that didn't have a lot of coverage. You don't really hear people talking about Matt Walker very much. Biz is just really good at using the jab and just keeping them out with his left hand. And that's kind of what Matt Walker's trying to get inside. Matt Walker's not a small guy, but Biz just keeps him out. And, and then he fights Storantini for Edmonton, the square off again. Throw a few, Storantini falls down, not much happening. Then he fights Prust from Calgary, they square off. Biz just keeps him at a distance. Finally, Prust works inside, and you can see that when guys get inside on Biz, then they can be successful, because Hordichuk does this to him too. But Prust, being the smaller guy, eventually works in and, lands a couple. I mean, I wouldn't say Prust won or anything, but, you could just see that's sort of Biz's weakness. He fights Jared Bull again. Bull hits, Biz comes in. Jersey jabbed by both. They both land, actually. They both at the same time land like big rights. Bull looks strong. Bull's right looks stronger than Biz's, though. Biz kind of wobbled a little bit. Definitely solid shots here. Then Mark Mahat, Columbus. Biz hits and Mahat comes in. It's all Biz. Matt Green, again, from LA, square off, all Biz. Then he fights Hordichuk, who's playing in Vancouver. They square off, and the Jersey comes over. They go down, get up. Hordichuk lands the better shots. This is kind of, I would say, kind of Biz's first kind of air quote loss that I saw. Wasn't bad, but I definitely wouldn't give him the win. Fights Barch again, square off. Biz in complete control. Jason Strudwick for Edmonton, they square off back. This actually is not bad. Not a lot of damage, but they go back and forth because Strudwick's long too, right? Because he's about 6'5". It wasn't the greatest fight, but it was, a definitely draw. Fights Barch again. Barch actually comes out strong in this one. He didn't let you could tell he was aware of Biz's gonna hold him out with the jab and stuff, so he tries to get in tight. Biz comes back at the end pretty solid, but and then he fights Barch again. They go back and forth, and you can see Barch has sort of figured it out how Biz fights now, and he really tries to keep it inside. And then fights Evenons to end the season. They just throw two and fall. But, overall, a strong season to start in Phoenix, 19 fights. I mean, again, none of these I would put up as big, huge, like bell-ringing, all action-packed fights. But overall, though, I mean, he ain't losing. Now, he put the hammer... Well, I'll put it this way. He put the hammer down on the guys that he needed to put the hammer down on. Like, the wins that he needed, that he should get, he got. Except for Boychuk. And then, against tougher guys... Hordichuk got him a little bit. It wasn't Hordichuk kicked the shit out of him, but I would say Hordy got the win. But other than that, it's either wins or draws, and... So, again, strong first season in Phoenix. And then the following year, 2010, 2011, played 48 games, 71 minutes, 2 fights in the preseason, and 13 regular season. His preseason, Matt Clark, there was no video of. He fought Kyle Clifford in L.A. Clifford got the instigator. Biz didn't really want to fight, and then he finally dropped the gloves, but that wasn't much. But preseason, whatever. But then the regular season starts. He fights Jay Harrison at Carolina to square off. yeah, Biz just stayed out of the range and landed a kind of real solid one at the ends. Give him a win there. Next fight was against Derek Englund of Pittsburgh. They had each other stretched out, going back and forth. But again, Biz looked kind of the busier of the two. If I had to give a win, I would give it to Biz, but I'd call it just a draw. But then he fight Cam Jansen, and then another one. This is a real indicator that how good Biz was with the jab and keeping guys stretched out, because he had Jansen stretched out, and there is nothing Jansen can do. He's trying to get in, and he just cannot get in on the inside of Biz, and Biz just controls the fight. Now, it's not like Biz is like, playing the drums on Cam's head or anything, but it's just like he's just controlling it, and Jansen can't do anything. He's yelling at the refs to stay out and everything else, but Biz just has him set out, and I mean, he ain't getting touched. He fights Peros, they square up. All of business fights are pretty much square offs too. Fights Peros, they go back and forth with a few shots here or there, side of the helmet stuff, but nothing big. Then the next one's against Trevor Gillies, the Islanders. They square off, they take it to center ice. Gillies starts strong, and you could tell he's got him kind of awkward because Gillies is throwing lefts. And this is the kind of the first lefty that a real lefty that Bissonnette's faced, and Gillies looks strong. Then they go back and forth for a little bit. Biz kind of makes a comeback when they start kind of fighting inside, and he sort of tangles Gillies up a little bit and kind of slows down his momentum. But Gillies looks strong in this, and you can see Gillies throwing with both hands. This is where I would say you really notice that, like, Gillies is just a different level of fighter than Paul Bissonnette. I give Paul Bissonnette full marks for fighting in the NHL. He was a decades heavyweight. Like those, Bissonnette wouldn't have had the same. What am I trying to say? I would say he wouldn't be in the same kind of rankings if he had played in the 90s. We'll put it that way. Like when Bissonnette's going in the American League and he's fighting all those guys, yeah, he's not on that level. And I think he would admit that. Like, he's not on a Morastes level or Yablonski or Gillies. Like, those guys are professional fighters. Bissonnette wasn't. Bissonnette was a player first that turned himself into a fighter, or just he turned the volume up. He always fought. It wasn't like, oh, he's complete, like, Lady Bing or anything. He was a grit guy that would fight a little bit, but he just turned the volume up. But at the same time, he fights. I don't think he didn't have the killer. You look at Gillies and like Yablonski and guys like that. Like, those guys, like, they got fire in their eyes, right? And like, there's like, well, Gillies is fuck. That guy's he makes coffee nervous. Like, that's how intense Gillies is. But I mean, that's kind of unfair because Gillies is more intense than most people. But they had that O'Reilly, that Bob Nystrom, that that flurry, and Biz didn't have that. He would square off with you and fight and whatever. As soon as he got in a position, let the refs get in here. He was very much a staged code, air quote, code fighter. I hate code. You know what I'm saying, though. Everything's fair. Let's square off. Nobody jumps anybody. If Jersey gets over your head, I'll stop hitting you. Like, he's from that era, from that mindset. Marcus of Queensberry, let's square off. Okay. He's a product of his environment. And that was very evident in this. And when you fight in guys like Gillies and stuff like that, that's a different animal. And you could just tell. But he did fine against Gillies. Then his next fight, again, Chris Barch, who has now figured it out, and they kind of just go back and forth and stuff. But, yeah, then he fights Peros again, back and forth. Biz finished strong in this one. Then he fights Westgarth. Biz gets the jab going, and then then they kind of get in tight and stuff. And Westgarth looks like he lands an uppercut on Biz because they're kind of really wrestling. It's almost like they got each other in like headlocks, kind of, and you can see his fist coming up from underneath, and Biz sort of like, whatever. He doesn't go down or anything, but it's like it caught him. But yeah. Then he fights Cam Jansen again. Again, Jansen cannot get in. Bissonnette's got him stretched. and he just can't get in. Again, it's not like Bissonnette's landing huge shots, but yeah, Cam, you can just see frustration. Then he fights a young rookie, Ryan Reeves. They square off, and they both kind of land some rights. I think Biz's right, kind of the momentum took him over, and they went down. Then he fights Tyson Strachan. Biz, after a big hit, they kind of jabs him off balance. Win for Biz. Fights Bowl again. They're going back and forth. But in this one, Bowl catches Biz with a right, and you could see he was stunned. He didn't go down, but he was whatever. It was a computer. It got reset. We'll put it that way. So that was definitely a win for Bowl. And then Ryan Clow to end the season was just wrestling with a bunch of jabs. That's the one thing, like I said, going down the Biz rabbit hole, none of these fights were really, real, 10-star bell ringers. Biz just did enough to survive, but I will say I think Biz's strength in his fighting is that he looks strong in the fights. I've done these before with a few guys, and I said the problem is they might be landing punches and everything else, but they're unbalanced, they kind of look whatever, and they get thrown down or whatever. So even if you land a couple punches, but the guy throws you down, it's not it just doesn't look good. That's the one thing I will say with Biz is his presentation was good. Even if he wasn't landing like these big Tony Twist like right hands and busting guys up and breaking noses, he was staying busy. He controlled them with the jab, pushed him where he wanted to push him, but he looked in control all the time. It didn't matter who he was fighting, even bigger guys. He looked in control, and it wasn't like they were whipping him around and feeding him and everything else. Even if they were throwing a whole bunch of shots, it wasn't like Biz was selling it like he was getting dummied. He always looked strong in the fights, for the most part, majority of them in his career. So I think that really helped him, because if you actually go down the rabbit hole and go watch all of his fights and you're watching it, it's not like he's inflicting a ton of damage on guys, but he's winning the fights he needs to win. He's looking strong at times against the guys he needs to look strong against. As I said, the Jay Leach is the worst. And I'm not knocking these guys, but if you're going to be the air quote tough guy, you got to beat Jay Leach. You got to beat Beauchemin. You have to beat Tyson Strachan and Ryan Clow and these guys, and he is. Is he doing it convincingly? Not really. I mean, it's not like it's not like Coaster on Playfair or anything, but he's doing enough. He's looking strong. Like I said, go down the rabbit hole, you'll see what I mean. His business presentation is good. We'll put it that way. 2011, 2012, 31 games, 1 preseason, 7 regular season. Was it Guillaume Despens? Whatever, some French name against Calgary. They're kind of go square off. They went down, got back up. Again, Biz is using his reach, keeps him at distance. Regular season fight, he fights Westgarth. Again, these two have a really kind of nice little rivalry going. It's going back and forth. Westgarth could hang with Biz's jab because he's 6'5", right? I didn't realize Westgarth was that tall. And then he fights Mike Rupp with New York. Same thing, back and forth. Westgarth again. Biz controls this with the jab this time. Biz, again, he knows how to control. He can move these guys where he wants. His left that arm must be so strong when he's got him barred out, because these guys can't reach him, even when they're taller, and he's just controlling them. He fights Hordichuk, who's playing with Edmonton. Again, Hordy's smart because he knows what Biz is trying to do, so I'm guaranteed watch video. He ends up getting Biz up against the glass, so now he's in tight. And this is where you could see it when you close the distance on Biz is when you can get the advantage. And Hordichuk does. If you can keep it in tight, you're going to do well against them. Fights Tim Jackman. They score back and forth. Same thing. Jab keeps him at a distance. Matt Cassian, that shouldn't even have been a face, fell down. And that Desbienne, I think it's Desbienne for Calgary, fights him again. The same thing, back and forth. See, like, again, none of these, I'm not trying to rush through it, but it's just like there's not much to really report. Like, right to the head, lean away, lean away. That's kind of what's going on. So it's not like it's 4-3, Biz wins. I mean, I wasn't counting punches. It was more just who looked in control and everything. And that's why if I got back and forth written, it was just, both gave, both took. Nothing. No one was bleeding. No one got dropped. Nothing. Just back and forth a couple times, maybe a couple side helmet shots, probably mostly shoulder pad. Refs break it up. 2012, 2013, of course, the lockout happened when they played half a season. And Biz actually went over to the UK and played for the Cardiff Devils. In 10 games, he had 19 points. And, I laughed at these people like, wow, Biz just isn't a goon, I guess. Well, yeah, no shit. Like, again, East Coast League All-Star and stuff. And, I mean, if you let him play, like... Oh, again, I'm not saying to the NHL, if they had let Biz play, he would have been a point-a-game guy. Like, no, but Biz can, at the minor league level, he could play. Like, come on. But this season, this didn't go good for Biz. Like, I think, he played 28 games once the season got going, 6 fights. First fight was in Chicago against Bowleg. They just stayed in tight, back and forth. Next fight was against Patrick Bordelot. They squared off. Bordelot landed some real solid shots on this one. Again, at 6'6". The left stretch, like Biz got long arms, they ain't that long, and Bordelot took advantage. Next fight was against Jackman. They actually took the buckets off for this one. They squared off. Back and forth. Jackman got Biz's jersey over, and the refs came in. Then he fights Mike Rupp for Minnesota. Stretched out, but again, Rupp's tall enough where he can get Biz in. And Rupp ends up right at the end. And he lands like 4 real solid rights, and he actually cuts Biz. And Tyson Nash, who's the announcer for Phoenix, says that's the first time he's seen Biz bleed. Yeah, I didn't notice it in any of the other videos, but yeah, Rupp landed. He didn't go down, but it was solid shots. Then he fights Bowl again. Same typical fights for these two. They stretch each other out, and it's just a back and forth, whatever. Then he fights Reeves. They're getting testy off the face-off, and Reeves kind of wants to go. And then and this one's actually all Reeves. And then this one he throws Biz down too. And Reeves looked strong in this one. Biz didn't look good. In those 6 fights, Biz did not look good this year. Like he just wasn't ready for it. And yeah, I don't know if he won. Yeah, I don't think. He didn't win any of these. So yeah, that wasn't a great season. 2013, 2014, of course, this proved to be his final season in the NHL. He played 39 games, 53 penalty minutes. He had 1 preseason fight and 3 regular season. A little stronger in this one. His preseason fight was against Tim Jackman at Calgary. Square off, but it's all Biz in this one. So Biz looked good in this one. His regular season fight, he fights Ronaldo for Philadelphia. Again, all Bissonnette. The next fight is against Rosehill, who's playing for Philadelphia. Rosehill gets the jab going, and he's landing lefts actually, and Biz just can't get going. And they spin and fall down. They get back up, square off again. Then it's back and forth. I would say this is actually probably Bissonnette's best NHL fight, like in terms of excitement. This one or the Gillies one. But yeah, this is real solid. Rosehill's going with the lefts. Biz will go with rights. They have a little solid little toe to toe because the jersey jab thing ain't working in this one. They get in tight. But Biz kind of comes back at the end. After they were spinning and fall down, they get back up and shoulder. They get off. They get rid of their elbow pads and stuff and square up again and re-engage. And it's right by the Phoenix, right along the Phoenix bench. And Shea Doan's losing his mind. He's loving it after. I would say this is probably in terms of an excitement thing. I would say this is Biz's best one. And then he fights Anthony Peluso, who I was a big fan of in Winnipeg. And this fight was unique because Peluso was wearing a visor, right? They kind of go back and forth. I would say Peluso kind of came on at the end. Again, not that he dummied him or anything, but, whatever. It was a strong finish for Peluso. And then that was it. That was Biz's last game in Phoenix. He played the following season. He had a preseason fight. He's up with St. Louis, actually. He played in the preseason with St. Louis and Justin Falk of Minnesota. I couldn't find the video on that. But, after that, Biz ends up playing 3 more seasons in the minors. He actually won a Calder Cup with the Manchester Monarchs in 14-15. And then he finished out the last 2 seasons, signed with LA, and then played with the Ontario Reign. Again, he had a really good fight card in the American League. Fought Morasti a bunch of times. I was watching some Ontario Reign fights. He actually fought Brett Gallant in the same game, fought him twice. Did really well against Gallant. I'd probably give him the win of both of them, actually. I didn't watch all of his American League stuff, but yeah, so I mean, overall, Biz is a fighter. Like I said, he He really relied on his reach. He's smart that he recognized that he had kind of mutant arms. He had surprising length. Like you would, like a Patrick Bortolo or a guy like that stretched out. Well, you'd believe it because they're 6'6". Biz is like 6'2", but I think he had the wingspan of a guy 6'6". So I think when he was fighting guys that were his same size, when they both have each other kind of doing that back and forth, well, Biz has got him ranged out, right? Because his arms are longer. So they're coming up short, hitting his shoulder pad or just missing his face, and Biz is connecting because he's got the longer reach. So he really used it. He really took it for advantage. He really used it to his advantage, and couldn't throw a left. He was good with the jersey jabs and stuff, but as far as a left hook, that ain't happening. But again, not a power guy, not a power puncher. He wasn't going to drop you. I don't think anybody was kind of scared to stand in the pocket with him, but. He, like I said, I know I keep kind of, rehashing this, but the thing that I noticed with Biz that he was strong with is he won the fights he needed to, that he should be winning. He did look good there. I think the other thing that probably really hurt him was just the lack of, they kept, you'd watch these fights in a row and they'll be like, oh, well, he's finally in the lineup tonight. And after missing how many games, that's going to be so hard when you're in and out of the lineup. You don't play for 2 weeks, then you get back out there and I say, go fight Jared Bowl now. And some of these guys that he's fighting have play every game, right? So it's got to be so hard. I remember ranting about that on social media a couple times. What do you expect him to do, man? You have this guy sit for 2 weeks eating press box hot dogs, and then he's got to go out and fight these guys. I think Biz would have done a lot better. Anybody would do a lot better if you had played him regularly. But overall, in terms of his career, anybody that says Paul Bissonnette was a punching bag doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about, because he wasn't. Now, is he going to go down in the top 100 or top 200 fighters in NHL history? No. But he was a guy that recognized what he needed to do, turned the volume up and did it, won the fights he needed to win, looked strong in the majority of his fights, never, in all of these fights, it was never, Biz got the shit kicked out of him. No, he didn't. He didn't get the shit kicked out of him in the NHL. Now, did he win them all? No. But he never got, just pumped through the ice or dropped or anything like that. I think the only time Bull caught him with one where he, I'm sure the eye spun a little bit. But other than that, he never got dropped. He never got the shit beat out of him. Rupp was the only guy that I saw cut him. And it was just on the eyebrow. And, but other than that, no, he, real strong with the jersey jab. And thing with Biz is, again, you can make fun of him, but the guy was an all-star and everything else. Good on his skates, really good balance, strong. So you're not going to push him around. Biz was better than I thought he was. Like I said, I'd never gone down I'd seen fights here and there, but when you don't watch them all right in a row, you don't really have an opinion either way. You're just kind of, okay. But once you do it, you go down the rabbit hole and watch all 50-some fights in a row, then you get the flavor of the guy and you can really make an educated opinion. And you're, after watching it. And, Biz was good. And, for that time and space, he knew how to use his reach. And, Biz was solid. So anybody that says he was an NHL punching bag, no. Now, was he an elite heavyweight? No, but I mean, at the time you didn't need to be anymore. There was no elite heavyweights at that time. Not really. I mean, Gillies and Goddard and, here and there. But I mean, the days of the killers were over. So, Bissonnette, but you go back and look at his, I'm going to go down this rabbit hole just because I'm interested. I'm going to go down and see what American League fights I can find him, because I want to see how he does against Segroy and Sugden and I know the Morasti fights and stuff, but I'm going to go check those out and see how he does, because he looked good in Gallant when I watched those. I like to see how he does against the Wrecker too, because now we're talking, because at that time the American League was so stacked compared to the NHL. Hey, I like Chris Barch and, and all these guys and everything else. But that ain't Wrecker, like Tim Jackman and those guys. I mean, that's not Joel Reckless or Yablonsky or Segroy or Morasti or Gillies or Bully Reese. Those guys, the American League was stacked, man. You had killers down there. So I'd like to see how Biz did down there. But as far as the NHL goes, yeah, man, You know, Biz is all right in my book. I never had a problem with Paul Bissonnette. He's fine with me. I dig Biz. You know, I get the character and everything, you know, and I'm not a Spit and Chicklets guy. Not that I have anything against Spit and Chicklets. I just don't really, I don't listen to other hockey podcasts, to be honest. I don't give a shit. But every once in a while, I'll see their shorts and, you know, something that Biz did or whatever. And, like, as far as his air quotes hockey takes goes, I agree with, and he's always been pro fight and he sticks up for the boys. And I mean, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, and again, anybody that dismisses him as some goof, it's like, well, I mean, I get that he's the clown and stuff, but don't dismiss his knowledge. Like, yeah, it's just ridiculous. The people used to do Don Cherry all the time, too. And it's just like, oh, seriously? The guy played pro for 20 years, NHL Coach of the Year, but you're, you know, because he said something against your favoritist, it's like, oh, he's clueless. You know, okay. You know, so stop. But, no, Paul Bissonnette, that was a fun player spotlight. And, you know, like I said, it's, you know, are they highlight 5-star fights of the year candidates? No. You know, no, but, you know, he did the job that no one on Phoenix wanted to do, and got 202 games out of it, made some NHL money, and sparked a whole career with himself, you know, in broadcasting. So good on Paul Bissonnette. I got no problem with Biz. It was a fun little journey to go down that rabbit hole, and I encourage you guys to do it as well. And yeah, no, it was fun. But you know what else is fun? It's always fun talking to you guys. And yeah, and thank you very much for tuning in. Like I said, I know there's a million podcasts out there. The fact that you listen to this one, I really do appreciate it. And thank you for the feedback that I've got a bunch of feedback lately, and I really appreciate it. And you know, my last episode, I interviewed Jason Costadine, got a lot of really positive feedback about that. Again, thank you, Jason, for coming on the show. Yeah, I got a couple other irons in the fire. We'll see what happens. But like I said, we're going to do one more episode next week. Well, I'm going to record it on Friday because I'll be gone. Saturday morning, we fly out really early. But I'll have it done before then. So we'll do next week's show. And yeah, and then I'll be on holidays. But Bruised and Battered out on Friday. But our episode right now, we have Cade McNally on the show. I encourage you to check out Bruised and Battered as well. If you're on social media, I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, follow Fourth Line Voice, as well as my YouTube channel where I have over 2,500 fights on there, all different leagues. I encourage you to check them out. Please subscribe to the channel. Go down the rabbit hole. Believe me, you'll find shit out. Go check out Bissonnette and Phaneuf in the Prospects game. Good fight. But yeah, there we go, folks. There's the player spotlight on Paul Bissonnette. Derek Parker's retirement, the LNAH, and I don't know. I think it's slowly, you know, we're seeing the kind of the end of that, but you know, we'll see. I hate to be doomsday and everything, but you know, they need to get their shit together, or at the very least, you know what? These teams are going to stop paying the money for some of these guys, and the show will be over, and you're going to just have a bunch of locals that'll basically be a Quebec Senior League. And, you know, for some people that's fine and, you know, whatever. But I think it's a real shame because the LNAH, again, you can say if that's not what you're into. I get it. But, man, those mid-two... And it's never going to be like it was in the mid-2000s because the guys aren't around anymore. But if you amped it up and you could get guys and attract them with some money and you open it up a little bit, yeah, you could bring back some fighting. You know, you brought back the fights and stuff. I think nowadays it would be such a different product compared to what else is out there. I think you'd start filling the rinks again, but they're not going to do it. And yeah, and I think it's going to be doomed to be. It's going to be the B side for sure. The B side of hockey. You know, the days of you know, the glory days are definitely behind the LNAH for sure. But it was fun at the time. But anyway, folks, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you very much for tuning in. It's about 11 o'clock here, so I got to go. Got to work tomorrow morning. But thank you very much, and we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks, everybody.
And you people that don't like fighting, how many of you did you walk out and get a coffee while that was on?